Welcome to World History in the West. The topic for this week is Restoration and Revolution. Please keep in mind the following central question as you progress through the material of the week. How did the preservation of existing ideologies and the introduction of new ideologies contribute towards both war and peace? The New Europe. In 1815, the victors of the Napoleonic Wars came together to ensure peace and stability in Europe. The approach of many leaders and monarchs was to ensure that the old style of leadership stayed in place or be resurrected, namely traditional monarchies. Some liberal reforms were introduced by these monarchs. However, this was also a time of ideology. These new ideas would challenge the foundation of European civilization. There was an expectation of peace following the defeat of Napoleon. However, uprisings and revolutions would continue to appear across Europe, culminating with the most revolutionary year in European history, 1848. Lecture context. Where? All of Europe. When? 1815 to 1848. Lecture topics. The New Europe. West versus East. Liberalism versus conservatism. And the rise of nationalism. The central question to keep in mind. How did the preservation of existing ideologies and the introduction of new ideologies contribute towards both war and peace? The broader picture. The post-Napoleonic era followed Napoleon's defeat and was near the beginning of the modern era. European empires continued to grow during this time along with Romanticism. Look closely at the map of Europe from 1815. There was hope for peace following the defeat of Napoleon. The power balance of Europe included Britain, Russia, the Austrian Empire, and the new German Confederation. The Holy Roman Empire was no more. France was resurrected as a monarchy, albeit a constitutional monarchy. The Congress system. Following the defeat of Napoleon, the nations of Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia signed an alliance together to ensure peace and stability in Europe. Each of these nations, with the exception of Britain, then also formed the Holy Alliance. This was intended to further religion, peace, and justice. By 1818, they agreed to end the occupation of France. Austria was most susceptible to revolution because of its multi-ethnic makeup. The Holy Alliance of Russia, Prussia, and Austria intended to prevent liberalism from spreading. Britain was excluded from this alliance due to their support for liberalism. What is liberalism? Earlier in the course, we discussed the introduction and growth of liberalism. Take a moment to write down several themes of liberalism. Who influenced its development? What is a liberal's traditional view of the economy? The impact of liberalism. The ideology of liberalism conflicted greatly with the existing political structure of Europe, most notably traditional monarchies. During this time frame, liberalism would incite a number of rebellions and revolutions. In 1820, revolutions and uprisings took place in the Kingdom of Naples, Greece 1821, Spain 1823, France again in 1830, and the Kingdom of the Netherlands in 1831, which would result in the independence of Belgium. Liberalism versus conservatism. Let's start with liberalism. Liberalism of this era was actually known as classical liberalism and is very different from the liberalism of today. It focused on small, strong government, believing that too much government would result in abuses of power. Written or unwritten constitutions detailed the limitations of government. It focused also on rights and freedoms and was fueled by the philosophers of the Enlightenment. Conservatism. Traditional governments in the form of monarchies provided stability and order for society. Rights and freedoms exist but cannot destabilize a society. Over time, monarchs started to institute more liberal reforms to avert revolution. Present-day conservatism is not the same as conservatism of this era. Conservatives of this era were not supporters of democracy, but rather supported more traditional forms of government like a monarchy. The Kingdom of Naples, 1820. An uprising in Naples arose and threatened the region's monarchy. Members of the Congress system discussed a solution. Russia, Austria, and Prussia, without the support of Britain and France, agreed that Austrian forces should crush the uprising, which they succeeded in doing. Russia, Prussia, and Austria sought to suppress any emergence of liberalism. The British, however, desired to spread liberal ideals. Greece, 1821. Greece had been occupied by the Ottoman Empire for some time. The members of the Congress agreed to support Greece's independence. Faced with the prospect of a large war, the Ottomans agreed to Greece's independence in 1830. Greece was Eastern Orthodox in its religion, and other Christian nations felt obligated to free her from Muslim control. By the mid-1800s, the Ottoman Empire would soon become known as the sick man of Europe, as the empire stuttered economically and declined in innovation. Spain, 1823. The King of Spain, Ferdinand VII, still believed in absolute rule. In 1823, he succeeded in abolishing the constitution that limited his powers. In 1834, a civil war broke out in the region, and by 1840, the constitution was reinstated, making Spain a constitutional monarchy. France, 1815. Following the defeat of Napoleon, the victor sought reconciliation as opposed to revenge. The borders of France returned to that of 1790. France was now a constitutional monarchy. The powers of the monarch were limited by what it said in the constitution. The hope was that France would again become an important member of Europe and help to create a power balance as opposed to rising again as a threat to the rest of Europe. France, 1830. In 1815, the monarchy was reinstated in France, with Louis XVIII. He was the eldest remaining brother of Louis XVI, who had been executed during the French Revolution. Following his death in 1824, he was succeeded by his brother, Charles X. Charles sought the support of the ultras, who were French royalists that supported the return of absolutism. In 1830, he suspended Parliament and freedom of the press. This did not go over well in France. France, 1830, continued. Immediately the French rose up and overthrew the government and the king. A new constitutional monarch was appointed, Louis Philippe. He supported the reforms of the Revolution and became known as the Citizen King. An interesting point is that Marquis de Lafayette, a French general who aided the Americans during the Revolution, again appeared to help calm the situation, this time in France. On another note, the fleur-de-lis was abandoned and the current flag of France was adopted. The Kingdom of the Netherlands, 1831. Originally, the United Kingdom of the Netherlands had included the Netherlands, Belgium, Limburg, and Luxembourg. Belgium had been a part of the Netherlands since 1648, following the Treaty of Westphalia. Belgians desired nationhood and rebelled. In 1831, Belgium succeeded in gaining independence from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. European nations recognized the independence of Belgium. Britain would especially pledge loyalty to Belgian independence, a decision that would come back into the spotlight in 1914, when Germany invaded Belgium to begin the First World War. Liberal West versus conservative East. The first half of the 1800s would be an ideological battle between liberalism and conservatism. Following the rebellions and revolutions that we've discussed, Western Europe became more supportive of liberal reforms, while the eastern part of Europe sought to maintain the power of monarchs as they had always been. The West was comprised of Britain, France, and Spain, while the East was comprised of Austria, Russia, and Prussia. In the end, liberalism would prevail, and the last of the great traditional monarchies would fall with the end of the First World War. Prince Metternich. Metternich was an Austrian diplomat that symbolized the old regime of Europe. He was very influential at the Congress of Vienna in 1815, in determining the outcome of Napoleon and France. He desired to maintain the concert of Europe or balance of power within the region. In the newly named Austrian Empire, he would serve as an influential diplomat until his resignation following the revolutions of 1848. Romanticism. Romanticism was not an ideology but rather a way of life. However, it had an impact on all of the major ideologies of the time. A few key characteristics. It was a reaction against the Enlightenment and objective truth. Truth was instead found through emotions, feelings, and sentiment. Human diversity was very important. And Romanticism impacted art, music, and literature. In addition, it valued the classical era and reacted to the present by glorifying the past. Liberalism and the economy. Liberalism also impacted the economy. A classical liberal believed in a free economy that was not regulated by government. This was known as capitalism and would be articulated in the famous book The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. Britain was an excellent example. It repealed protectionist legislation to improve trade, and even forced freer trade with China through the Opium Wars. Population growth in Europe from 1800 to 1850. What are some conclusions that can be drawn from the map? What are contributing factors to these changes? Conclusions. Post-Napoleonic Europe would be defined by conservatism versus liberalism. However, nationalism was just around the corner. In the coming years, smaller ethnic groups would vie for nationhood. The expected peace after the Napoleonic Wars instead turned into a time of national upheaval.